What is up, guys? It's Mike from DripLocal here to talk about building melodies. So one of the most important things when you're actually constructing a beat. So a lot of people kind of get hung up on this. One, because they want a catchy melody. Two, because they want something that is actually like melodic and makes sense, and it's, part of the same scale. Otherwise, it's going to sound off, and you're going to be wondering like, all right, what's going on? Why does it sound like shit? It's not catchy. No, it just might not be within the scale you're using. So this is important for several reasons, because if you have a catchy melody, then you're setting up yourself for success. You don't necessarily have to put in too much work on drums or even like special effects. It'll really carry the beat. Two, it'll help with your 808s, just making sure you're tuning them correctly. If you have a melody and a scale, and then you can add chords underneath. And then three, just being able to build melodies is going to help you learn to better structure your tracks and just like listen to songs you hear and construct stuff from that, if that makes sense. So you'll be able to kind of pick out like what's going on within a certain song without having to use kind of like audio to MIDI tools. So let me just say, I am all right at making melodies. Definitely wouldn't consider myself an expert. I don't have a background in music theory. Obviously, I have looked into it just because I've been doing this for a while. And yeah, if you have a chance, might as well. It's theory, so it's not necessarily going to be the end-all be-all. At the end of the day, you want to use stuff that sounds good, but it's, a good tool to have. So let's get started. So first thing I like to do, just cue up some FL keys. So I have that queued up. And then when I'm in the piano roll, I go over here to this caret, helpers, and then scale highlighting. And you see I'm in C major. So for this example, we're going to be doing G major. So first off, we're going to start out with some simple chords, building a melody on top of that, just like chord and melody, and then just like some counter melody. The piano roll, that's G. So G major chord would be G, skip 2 notes, so this would be a full step, and then skip another half step, and then end up at B. So that's your second note that you play within this chord, and then your third would be skip a full step after that, and then have this guy. So G, B, D. Do a C note next. This is also really helpful if you just pull up like what's within your chords, the notes on like a separate tab. It really helps you when you're going through and constructing stuff, just in case you fuck up, which I do a lot. So let's hear what we have so far. So I don't necessarily like where that note is in the structure, so I'm going to move it around here. Okay, so we have F sharp right here. I think this is an instance where that's a minor chord, so it's actually diminished, F sharp diminished. So that would be F sharp, A, C. So full step, and then you end right here. So that would be a minor chord, because if it was a major chord, then you would end up right here, but that's not the scale we're working in, so we have to do that. And it needs to end on, I don't know, you can end on your first chord. That's like common practice. It helps you to get that return variable. Like, music is weird in a way that you're constantly like at points of rest and then points of motion, and you want to end up back at rest. So let's just listen to it real quick. So that right there, it's just kind of like an unsettling sound because it hasn't returned back to like the major chord over here. So we want to do the same sort of thing. Like if we're pushing ourselves towards a certain sound, we want to like return back to where we came from. So just to be real simple, I'll copy the first chord and you'll see how it kind of resolves itself. Alright, so that's pretty cool. We have that down, and in order to add some variation, we're going to go ahead and move notes around because you can like invert chords and they still kind of do the same thing. Just to keep track of what chords I'm working in, I go ahead and I layer down some bass notes just below. So we have that going on. So let's go ahead and fuck with this and like invert some shit. So it sounds off to me, and as I said before, there was like a minor chord that was playing, so you just kind of have to mess with it to get it to a point where it sounds acceptable, if they're not all major chords. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch places here. Sounds a little bit better. Alright, so that's good enough. So yeah, just when you're listening, you know, sometimes things sound off, even though they might be like musically correct. So it kind of goes back to what I was talking about. Like, if it sounds good, go with it. You know, trust yourself. You have your scales highlighted, so you can kind of like work within that. So let's go to part 2, which is just your general melody on top of that. So I kind of want to have a little bit of help, so I'm going to get rid of the metronome and add some actual one hits. Alright, so we have that, and let's start with this melody. So we started out on F sharp, sorry. So let's start with that, and then the cool thing is we can use all these notes within this chord in order to add melodic aspects, and it'll sound pretty good when you do that. Okay, so kind of want to have some repetition, so you can see how I set up this melody over here. Gonna try and replicate it kind of over here. Of course, there's going to be some variation there. But yeah, you want the person listening to be able to anticipate what's coming next in order for it to be like catchy. Alright, so that's good enough there, and this is kind of the part where you can add some like additional flair, like kind of counter melodies to help. So let's do that. Part 3, counter melody. just kind of like random. Obviously you want it to be kind of repeating, so it goes back to like predictability. So at the end of this first bar, that's where we add the variation. Same with over here. Then we have some slight variation at the beginning of this third bar, and then kind of here at the end. It's really up to you. Like tempo wise, there are a lot of ways you can chop measurements and structure bars. And as I wish I understood that more, and maybe we can go a little bit more in depth as I learn more. But for now, yeah, it really goes back to whatever sounds good. So yeah, we can hear over here that this doesn't necessarily work. It's kind of forcing its way back into the beginning. Alright, so we got that part out of the way. Let's work on part 4, 808s. Making sure you're pitching them correctly. So yeah, I mean, if you're not going to pitch your 808s right, then your beat's going to sound like shit. So let's go ahead and do some work here. So gotta get some 808s. Yep. All right, so tuning 808s, you have your waveform over here, sample settings, and you have your envelope instrument settings. You want to go in here, turn down attack, hold all the way up, decay down, sustain down, release down. And then this is very important. So you want to make sure that you're in the right key. So we have the key over here. So it's G. But for those of you who don't know how to kind of check, you want to go to Edit in Audio Editor, then right click, Regions, Detect Pitch Regions. And you can see it's G right there. Saying it's G sharp, but I've used it long enough to, I'll say it's G. All right, so we want to right click, and that's how we enable the root note, G, right there. All right, so laying down 808s. All right, let's just do a quick little record. Go up here, click that. Notes and automation. Real simple 808. Then you can just go over here, quantize. And then in order to connect them, you can do Command L, and there you go. Obviously, this is like super simple 808s. I'm just going to go ahead and click in this guy over here. It's a G note, so let's do that. Hopefully that was somewhat helpful. I know it was a little bit long-winded, but feel free to leave any comments or questions you might have, and also just let us know, how can we do better? What are you hearing in our beats that is a little bit off? What would you recommend? Drop your links, we'll check them out. Anyways, have a good one, guys. Thanks for checking us out.